I always laugh.
Always ready. Still driving. We have a living community doing that.
I would like to take my wife down here.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call this council regular session to order. It's Wednesday, April 17th at 7 p.m. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'll go ahead and open it up for visitor comments. If you'd like to come up and make a comment, please keep it to 3 minutes or less and state your name for the record, and we'll be taking notes of action if needed. I see there's a few people from our regular session earlier. I'm opening it up for visitor comments now. Yes.
Okay. Don't get your way.
I will. Steve Topaz here. This week on the local TV, there was a meeting or description of a meeting that happened in Portland. And it had to do with the area in Linden where all the tank farm is. And the meeting started off with, it isn't when the earthquake hits, mainly they're thinking about the Cascade subduction. It's when. And they're talking about the problems of the one thing, the tidal wave, a tsunami wave, the other of the liquefaction and what the river is going to do there. We ought to pay attention because we get the tidal wave first. Anything that comes out of their nest there comes down the channel and gets us. In fact, there's numbers on how many minutes after the problem in Linden, the bridge in Sophie's Island gets wiped out. We get it next. Hopefully, we have someone who's been involved. By the way, do we have somebody who's in charge of the lagoon? Rachel was in charge of that project. Who's now in charge of it? Does anybody in the council have that connection? Okay, so you don't. Anyway, one of the things that should be done is we ought to have a boom from the end of the waterfront. So the burning stuff coming down the channel is at least diverted center channel rather than burn our docks out. Unfortunately, it's still upstream of our water supply. The geology says we have the same problem that Linden has, and it was indicated in the last Moe Forster test that our dike levee is going to fail. So we need a plan. We need someone in charge, and the other people are telling us it's going to happen. So it isn't what if, it's when. We have not had a public meeting on this for the last 5 or 6 years. In fact, we haven't had any. It was mentioned in the newspaper we're going to. Going to after it happens doesn't mean anything. The input is useless at that point. If we follow what Moe Forster said in the first executive meeting, it will be 20 years after they start filling the lagoon that we'll be able to build on it. And at that point, they said you can't build on it. So you've got a 20-year wait plus whatever it takes from now to get the permits and start building. But we need someone in charge, and we must realize that people upstream of us are worried about the tsunami, which also means our waterfront and liquefaction of the stuff dumping into it. This is the thing to be planning now. Thank you.
My name is Ron Tromlins. The city decided to pursue a lawsuit against Western Partitions for failing to complete the repairs on the 2 million-gallon reservoir issue in April of 2021. The mediation was scheduled for March 21st, 2022. In preparation for the mediation, the city retained Walker Consultants to prepare for the mediation. Walker Consultants prepared the report that details the problems of the reservoir. The city relied on this report in its mediations March 21st, 2022. The mediation was successful and the city and WPI and the city were able to resolve their issues 18 days later. I found this memorable. It has been in litigation for 30 months, each party claiming the other. WPI claims Carboline and Kennedy Jenks. Kennedy Jenks blames WPI and Carboline, asserting that the failure of the performance was the fault of WPI. These parties entered into a settlement agreement on April 8th, 2022. This was remarkable because the settlement parties warranted that they had entered into this agreement and are not entering into it because of coercion, duress, or fear. My opinion is Walker Consultants report was complied specifically for the litigation and proved successful for the parties signing while denying liability. I spent months trying to acquire a copy of the Walker report using the right to information. I was told it was withheld by client privilege. I filed an appeal with the district attorney to use the courts. I gave the information that I had compiled and the district attorney asked if I had any new evidence before he ruled. Jeff Alexander, the VA, said that he was entitled to see a copy of the Walker report, and he ruled upon 200 years of law the city could utilize client privilege and denied my appeal for the record. Jeff Alexander stated I could challenge his opinion. I told him I wasn't interested in changing the law, only that the city was abusing the law. A client privilege is a cover-up of the city's actions, ignore, neglect, complicity, poor judgment, all showing how their participation had contributed to the 2 million-gallon reservoir failure. The use of client privilege offers some protection from embarrassment and reputations and years of delay that caused increased cost. The city still has the option of either releasing the public record in its entirety or preparing a condensed version of the public record that contains the actual information of the record but does not contain the legal advice in the document. This option was noted in a letter to the district attorney, to David Bowers, the city's attorney, who is withholding the Walker report. This could be a release option for cause and responsibility closure.
Good evening, Jen Massey, St. Helens. So I wanted to give an overview of my recent ride-along that I had the privilege to do about, almost a month ago, I guess. As a budget committee member, we were invited to do one. I've never done one before. So I wanted to give a high-level review of what took place, because it was a really eye-opening experience for me and actually pretty impactful. If the rest of the budget committee hasn't done it, or city council, if you've never done one, I highly suggest it, because it brings a different perspective to what these guys do out there in the field. So I got to ride with Sergeant John Eggers, who's been around for over 27 years. He's getting ready to retire. It was a very eventful night. It turned interesting very quickly, where we had an individual cross over into a bike lane. Luckily, nobody was there. And as quickly as I said, it looks like they're getting ready to run. They ran, like, as far as in their car, is like very quickly through the neighborhoods. And I'll do a full account on our Facebook page of what happened as well, too, because I can't really get it in 3 minutes. But nevertheless, ended up in a driveway where the individual exited their car very quickly. John Eggers Sergeant John Agers went and, tried to keep this individual from going into the home. Very quickly, somebody else came out on the porch. I thought this was going to be a 2-on-1 fight, with me watching and not being able to do anything about it. Good thing that there was no weapons. But then, Sergeant John Agers ended up getting, assaulted by the individual that he was trying to, detain. One of the things that really struck me about that is, wow, some of our officers that have worked, 130 hours, 13 days in a row, if they were fatigued, how could they be alert and be like, have their head on a swivel, right? Because that happened so fast that went down. Luckily, after he got assaulted, he had the individual out in the yard and was also yelling at this individual. So I thought that was on the porch, thought it was going to be a 2-on-1 fight again. But the interesting part is, Officer Coy just showed up out of nowhere, and I swear he has like the longest legs, but he only touched ground like one time to get to, I mean, it was the craziest thing. I think he rode with him, right? It was like wild, like he was there, and then one step he was helping detain this individual who then was spat at Sergeant Agers as well. So it's just kind of a crazy thing, and it just, like I said, happened so incredibly fast. And then we ended up going to the jail, which is an interesting experience too, because I got to see how the reports were done and the redundancy that went on, and ask the questions like, how long would this take to handle from beginning to end, which is like 15 hours for this one situation that was 3 felonies and 4 misdemeanors on this one particular case, right? And so the report writing system is really interesting because of that aspect. So I think that was proven. Also, Officer Coy, I know I'm running out of time. Officer Coy, I wanted to give kudos because he actually listened to Agers' voice and knew something was wrong and actually looked up on the GPS and showed up there. That's how he was there so fast when Agers could not call out anything, which I could hear on the radio. Furthermore, community policing, there was the kids on the porch watching this whole thing go down. And so I watched the kids' face too. They went in and made sure that those kids were okay before they left. They didn't just leave and detain the person. So I think that there's major kudos that goes on, and they do a lot of stuff. So if you haven't done a ride along, take advantage of it. And then the last thing is the tour of the police station. I've actually never taken a tour of the police station, which was interesting because I know some citizens say that it's just like we need evidence room. But there's Division 2, Oregon OSHA, and the Code of Federal Regulations 1910 that says employers are supposed to provide a safe and healthy work environment. That place is worse than a portable trailer that we drag out onto the job sites. So it's not a safe and healthy work environment. So I would suggest somebody go out and look at that as well from an occupational safety and health standpoint.
Any other visitor comments?
No, you're good.
Hi. I'm not good at public speaking. I saw your meeting today.
Can I get your name for the record?
Teresa Fox. Sorry. I
Great.
saw your meeting today. I thought it was really good. I just wanted to say that I think, even though you guys have dates on those contracts and the planning and stuff, I think it would be a better idea, if it's possible, to like keep the contractor till the end of Halloween, because the amount of disruption that it's gonna cause for me personally, I don't even know. I'm having like a lot of panic attacks and anxiety because I don't know if I'm gonna have a job in a couple of months, so I don't know how to plan for my future. And also because there's like musicians, there's 13 nights, there's the idea of trying to pass that over in the middle of summer. Halloween Town is huge and somebody really needs to be dialed in. And I just think that if you're planning on like, people are trying to like get rid of Tina, that they should like at least let it go through what she's already got rolling, because she's got bands and everybody on hold, and things that we should be doing now for Halloween Town, like ordering and stuff like that. And so it's just an idea that I throw out there because it would just make things so much more simpler and less chaotic, because it's going to abrupt the community, the concert series, and trying to pass that hat to a potentially new person that close to Halloween is going to really be a lot, So I just gotta throw it out there, maybe like consider letting her stay on till the end of October, and then at the end of October, you got November, December, January. Kind of like get the ball rolling with the new planning and that and everything like that. That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. Joe Lewis, St. Helens Kiwanis. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Mr. Administrator. I'm here to talk about the disposition of this Flying Eagle canoe. And I've done my diligence to learn as much about it as I can and the plans for it. And I understand that the city wants to give it to a 501c3. And I've talked with various people about it, and our club has Kiwanis is dedicated to helping children, and so that the educational potential for the Flying Eagle is, I think, enormous. I've talked to Willow Bill, and I've read Main Street's proposal, and it seems to me that they are very well thought out. And the fact that Main Street would acquire it and let Willow Bill have it, and he would bring it back to Columbia County for the educational purposes that we would hope to achieve, to me seems like a good plan. So we don't need to have possession of it, but we would like to have it returned to Columbia County for the purposes of children's education in the future. Sounds like that's something that could happen. So at this point, we really don't want to acquire the Flying Eagle, but hope that it will remain in our community or come back to our community for purposes of kids' education. Thank you.
Hey, Council, Erin Salisbury, I'm here in my capacity as the president of St. Helens Main Street Alliance. And I did send you all a letter last week. With your indulgence, I'd like to read it because I would really like anybody listening to this meeting and hearing you vote to kind of understand where Main Street's coming from on this. And maybe provide a little context for what Joe just said. So this is a letter I sent last week. Dear City Councilors and Mayor Scholl, following the vote last week and discussion by council to declare the Cedar Canoe Flying Eagle as surplus city property, I had discussions with William, also known as Willow Bill, about the St. Helens Main Street Alliance stepping in as a 501c3 available to receive the canoe as a donation from the city. Our board has considered the idea, and all board members are unanimously and enthusiastically support the plan to receive the canoe and in turn sell the canoe to Willow Bill for $1. Please read further to understand why we will then sell to Bill rather than retain ownership at this time. We see Willow Bill as the spiritual custodian or steward of the Flying Eagle. His involvement in her creation, his passionate understanding of her symbolic relevance, her cultural and historical connection to the river, as well as the importance of her to the now grown school children who carved her in 2006, all make him the right caretaker for her on the next leg of her journey. He is the expert who knows how to repair a dugout canoe and how to gather the team needed to paddle her when it's actually in the water. His expectation is that his team will take her on another journey of rediscovery. She will go first to Lake Tahoe, another journey of rediscovery, which will include time for repair and restoration as needed. She will go first to Lake Tahoe, where another dugout canoe is currently sunk under the ice, waiting for its recovery by the team that Flying Eagle and Willow Bill have assembled to raise it up. Flying Eagle will then return to St. Helens on the 4th of July, and she will travel the length of the Mississippi River next April through October. We know that wherever Willow Bill takes Flying Eagle on adventures in the next 2 years, the story of St. Helens and the kids who carved her and our place on the Columbia will be part of the story he tells. By selling Flying Eagle, we are freeing her to travel, releasing liability and ownership into the hands of those who know her best and who will best care for her. We know she will be safe. Here's what we also know. No matter what else occurs out in the world in the next 2 years, Willow Bill will make sure that eventually the Flying Eagle returns to St. Helens. Sorry for the time. Eagle will return to St. Helens for all of us to enjoy into the future. St. Helens Main Street Alliance expects to then take up an active part in making sure Flying Eagle remains accessible to our citizens and visitors, is displayed safely in security, and that she is returned to the water often enough for new generations to make memories about what it means to float the Columbia in a vessel made from a tree that grew on our lands. We thank you for the opportunity to be of service in this way, and hope that if you agree, we are worthy partners. We can assist in expediting the transfers you see fit. I just want to say that part of what makes me very passionate about this is that Flying Eagle is not just an asset. She's not a thing. She is part of a cultural tradition that sees her as actively a part of the natural world. And so the opportunity for her to leave and return is actually, I think, a beautiful symbolic element that we can best expedite as human beings by making sure that we do a transfer that releases liability to the city, lets her go in the hands of somebody who can make sure she's well cared for. And I know she's coming back. I've known Little Bill for probably 15 years. And I think that with the help of the St. Helens Main Street Alliance, with the help of Kiwanis, with the help of Rotary, with the help of all the citizens in our community, when she comes back, we can be ready for her. We can get a display space for her. We can make sure that we come up with a plan for getting her in the water in a way that is safe, in a way that has liability coverage, in a way that our young kids can also enjoy her. That's the point. And we need to get her out of the garage. So thank you. Thank you for indulging me going over time. I appreciate it.
Other visitor comments?
My name is William Goulart, Willow Bill. First off, outside, man, I just wanted you to get away from here so we can shut. Hey, 1000%. You know, I just want to share this thing. I've shared it with thousands of people. I want to share with everybody's blessings. You know, remember at the 2 o'clock meeting, I think they were talking about doubling down in 2 years. That happens to be the 20th year since you guys carved it. Happens to be the greatest time in the world to say thank you finally to those children that never were thanked. Our kids right now that we're putting resources out, trying to help, what, 25 to 30? It's those kids that carved the canoe. St. Helens School District carved on this canoe in 2006. So that's going to be Scappoose Elementary. Is it McBride? You can help me. It's going to be Willis and Clark Elementary. It's going to be Columbia City Elementary. I think they're kindergarten through second and sent our second graders only. It's a shame I'm the only one that knows this. I promise you, the Declaration of Honor, that this comes back here. I want the canoe only because nobody here has ever stepped up and said, hey man, let's take care of this and put it in a case. I still have the paperwork from it being from a gentleman here in this community that stepped up and said, here's a case. It was going to cost $5,000 back then. We can do this. Let's honor those kids. Why would Willow Bill want to honor those kids? Willow Bill don't live here. Willow Bill has no ties here, doesn't know who she is. But I will tell you this, if Willow Bill was in Carson City, every kid in Carson City knows Willow Bill. They have Willow Reindeer Week. 6 governors have signed off on that. For 50,000 children. So if that was your program, you would look at another community that worked on Lewis and Clark back when their logo said Lewis and Clark, and you would say, you didn't thank your kids right off the bat. Let's double down. I'm from Nevada, baby. So did I. It's our children, Rick. It's a freebie. You wanna double down? I come back with a story of beauty from John Ruskin, who was paid by this council to get that canoe to St. Louis. Now for the log, Diane Dillard gave that log. 13th log, and the rest of Charles Grant I spoke with today. Give the eagle to me, I'm gonna share it. That's what it's about. Yeah, I got 2 seconds and I'll go. I told you, I could have it at the high school ball. Just to throw it out. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
Adam Shapiro, St. Helens. As you guys know, FAFO DDS also put in some, interest in the canoe, the Flying Eagle. Really, we don't need to have anything to do with it. We did it for one thing in particular, that picture Willowville could get it. Main Street, apparently they've had some discussions, they're all over it. Let's give it to Main Street, let's make it happen. So I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping here, a little bit of clearing up. The FOIA request has been quite the issue on things and how the process works. Our understanding is that the FOIA request, we submit it, there's a specified period for time of response. And then, the city staff send out an IT request for query search, that information comes up. They collect that general info, they give a price to whoever submits the FOIA, and then they submit that to the attorney for anything that needs to be redacted. I don't think that having a attorney, it's that much of a time suck for the attorney. It's more of a time suck for the city employee. And I hope it's that way, because if the attorneys really are getting that involved with the FOIA request, there's something else going on. And so to my next little item, there was a radio show interview recently where the mayor happened to talk about trying to build a new stage and, what the cost of that was going to be, whether it's going to be, $500,000 or 250 or $1 million. And, there was different ways that it could be done. And one way was to, avoid the prevailing wage by having, a subcontractor do it for us. That's pretty concerning. I'm a union member. We fought hard for our rights. That's collective bargaining, and there's government contract rules about that. And if you're intentionally trying to use a subcontractor to subvert that, that's a pretty bad look. I know personally, my contractor has been invited to bid work in the city of St. Helens, and we have not gotten it. Is that because there's not a competitive bid process going on? I don't know, but the interview was a pretty bad interview. So,
took my words completely wrong out of it, a radio interview, and I would encourage people to listen to it.
I would also encourage people to listen to it.
A contractor we hire through tourism could hire somebody for that stage. What I
Please
said,
listen, everybody, please listen to the radio show.
what I said.
I could provide each and every one of you with the transcript if you'd like. It was basically that you could hire a tourism subcontractor to do the work. But that's avoiding trying the intent of the prevailing wage laws. And that's definitely concerning for union members and construction workers as a whole, because that is.
The city as a whole. Now you're changing your words a little bit. The city does go through the process with union prevailing wage.
Correct, but if you're hiring a subcontractor, you're intentionally trying to subvert.
No, I did not say you're hiring a sub.
You said, okay. Everybody should listen to it themselves.
The Wana stage got its name because the tourism person went there and got a donation from Wana.
Is it on city property? Is it on city property?
It is on city's property.
And it would be a government project.
Not necessarily true.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of it, I'm sure. So I just wanted to, that appearance or not, the appearance of that to a union construction worker or any construction worker, that potentially subverting it, trying to get away from paying that prevailing wage. So that is the appearance that it gave. And for any construction worker, that's a big deal.
So Adam, I'm not gonna sit here and debate with you. I said on the radio station.
No, I agree. I want everybody to hear for themselves. Thank you.
I would like to too, but you brought that to this stage and not a lot of people do listen to that radio station. And so I'm telling you right now, my words were that The stage was gonna be $1 million and it wasn't feasible, so we took it off and we redrew up the waterfront connector. And we're going ahead and we're doing the river walk without the stage. The stage can be revisited later, maybe it can be done cheaper. Brady, right, the other person who interviewed me is right here, and that's exactly what I said.
I could send each and every one of you a exact transcript right now if you'd like, but I'll send it later. Thank you. It'll be on our page also.
Yeah, of course it's gonna be on your page, the conspiracy page. Okay, other visitor comments?
Brady Freeman. You're right, you didn't say that on the show, so I would confirm that. This is an organization that what they don't know, they make up. And unfortunately, every city council, including the mayor of Rainier and the city council in Scappoose, has called them out for that. Your council hasn't. I'm glad tonight to see that you are doing that. I think there needs to be more of it. I also wanted to talk about the RFP process. The RFP is, good thing I'll tell you is the date that you have, the timing that you want it done by May 22nd. Delighted with that timing. The bad thing is the start date. So you need to get the RFP process done by June. I've said that multiple times, but you cannot have it start on July 1st. That doesn't make any sense at all. As your own attorney has told you today that, oh, we have a little bit of a problem and that you have a contractor to the end of June, and in the middle of that contract, you're gonna switch contractors. That's senseless. That makes absolutely no sense. The RFP needs to have a date that starts January 1st of 2025. Keep the timing as far as the deadline, but do not switch contractors in the middle of 13 nights. I don't know how you even think that's gonna happen when you're gonna just change them. That makes zero sense to change your contractor in the middle of an event. I'm also concerned about even having Halloween Town. Today you canceled July 4th. 13 nights you've moved to the McCormick Park. 13 nights gets about 200 people on average. The 4th of July gets about 2,000 and we can't have it. Halloween Town gets 20,000. So if you're not gonna have Halloween Town, you should say now. Because there's plans being made. So if it's not gonna be an event, we need to know. People need to know that if you're not gonna have that event here, then you need to say, yeah, we're canceling it. Because it's not fair to anyone, including the merchants and vendors and storefronts here that depend on that revenue. And you need to let them know. And it needs to happen, right away. You can't be delaying that option. Finally, I wanted to make a comment about the canoe. I want to see the canoe being used. I don't think that canoe should be given to an individual person. What happens when that person dies? I don't know about Main Street. I mean, I have real doubts about them. They couldn't organize a scarecrow contest. I have a hard time believing that they could organize a canoe with insurance, but their plan is just to give it away. I think that's unethical for this council. If you could actually do that legally, you could give it to Bill directly, but you don't. So you want to go through a third party, which has told you that they're just going to give it away, which means you're culpable in that. And to me, that is not something that you should be doing. That is an asset that needs to stay here, does not need to be owned by one person or given away to one person. And I believe that Bill has the good intentions and wants to see it used. I want to see it used too. I just don't think it should go to him as personal property. You need to have an organization that's willing to care for it, take care of it. And if that's Main Street, great. If it's not, then there's no reason that this decision you have to make today. This has been sitting around for 16 years. You can wait. Talk to Main Street, say, are you willing to take responsibility for this and own it and not, rather than make a rash decision that you can't reverse later on. I don't think it should go to an individual person to own it.
Howard Blumenthal.
Nice shirt.
Had to show it off. I agree everything that most people said about the Flying Eagle. It's a very amazing craft. I've never been in it. Gives you much more appreciation for all the things that Lewis and Clark have done and Native Americans that help carve the faces on it and stuff. I don't really look at that we're giving it to Willow Bill indefinitely. We're letting him become the caretaker of it for a few years while we get our act together to be able to display it correctly and get it in the water. That boat deserves to be used and shown off to people. And I think in a weird way, he's an interesting ambassador, but if he takes it where he's talking about it, it's going to give us a lot of publicity with the story behind it, with all the kids that helped build it and all the other things. We've been trying to get it out more into the public for a very long time, and it just barely gets out maybe once a year. We've gotten it out on the river a few times, a few years ago for 4th of July. I remember paddling it with him. Actually, it was just the two of us all the way from Scappoose to here just to get it here for the 4th of July celebrations. So I really do think that he'd make a very good caretaker of it for a while, and I'm sure if he passes away or something, that it'll still make it back to us. I think it's just in the karma of that boat. So I think you know where I stand now. So thank you very much.
Nick Helmick, City of St. Helens. Just wanted to bring attention to the amount of volunteers we need for Citizens Day. Personally, I signed up for 5 shifts, doing different things the whole day. Wife gave me permission. So yeah, with the baby and, yeah, so we need more volunteers. I think there's one, like for food serving, we're down 0 out of 12 volunteers. So anyone listening, anyone here, if you've got anything for Citizens Day, definitely be appreciated. Also, I'm having my 2nd annual South 4th Street Barbecue. Submitted a permit 3 weeks ago to have John Gomway. So anyone listening, everyone's welcome to come along. BYOB. If you are going to drink, you have to drink in my front yard because I don't have an alcohol permit. Insurance costs too much for the city. It's going to be July 13th, 2024. And yeah, for 2 p.m. till you can safely drive home. If you need a DD, I can definitely do that for you. And I also hopefully will be appointed tonight to the Parks and Trails Commission. I'm an avid outdoorsman, care about our environment, care about the parks, believe it is a appreciating asset that we can actually use to bring in more revenue, more tournaments, BMX trails, everything that we have here. We have a really good city. And I know we're going through a lot of growing pains right now. And I think I'm going to butcher this quote, but you know, you can make some of the people happy some of the time. You can make most people happy most of the time. You can't make everyone happy all the time. And that's what we're going through a lot. So I think we need to come together as a community and try to get through this. And it's easy for me to say, you know, I've only lived here 6 years, but just seeing the city grow as much as it has, it's very promising. I'm excited to see it keep going and hopefully not go without reserves in the city budget. So that's the hope. So thank you so much.
Any other visitor comments? Do we have any on Zoom?
Steve Toski.
Okay, go ahead, Zoom. Steve?
Good evening, Council. Steve Toski, citizen of St. Helens. The city wanted tourism to be a main point of its economic development for its businesses, and it went forward with an idea of Halloween Town, and somehow, some way, we got a person to come in and created something unique and amazing. And I think that this council has yet to understand what the elements are that made the magic happen, and is tinkering with something that is very important to our businesses and charities. I was asked to get involved on the planning commission by Russ Hubbard because he was afraid, said that our citizen committees and our commissions are kept out of decision making. And when I got on the planning commission, I noticed that was true. And I kind of observed how this whole thing has gone down with this tourism contract and this RFP, and kind of thinking it reminds me a little bit about the concerns that were raised by my good friend a long time ago. And I feel that there's still a chance to resurrect a bad situation by taking a little bit more time and being very careful with something that's very valuable to us. Try to protect our assets. I think the RFP, fine, go forward with it. It's way too short a time frame to actually get people who are qualified to get interested in this thing and bring forward their talents so that we can actually assess the differences that other people may bring to the table in helping our program. I think that that should be extended. I join your attorney's concerns about this mid-year truncated thing, and that's no fault of our contractor. It's the fault of the council by not preparing sufficiently for this contract ending. Also, I think that the contract that the council has put on the RFP needs to be removed. The council doesn't understand what the elements are for the contractor to bring the magic that we have. And I think that the best way to get the best contractor is for the contractor themselves to bring forward a proposal with their proposal to the council. What are you proposing to do this thing for us? How does it benefit us? And then during the process, you can actually negotiate with contractors, take a look at the contracts, try to resolve the differences between some of the concerns that are raised and the contractor so that we can succeed. So I'm asking the council, go ahead with the RFP, extend the contract through the end of the year, because I really don't think there's a reasonable choice in that regard. I think if our contractor walks, it could be a very big problem for us. Take the time to get qualified people interested, let them come forward with proposals, figure out what it is we need, and let's go forward with a solid decision that helps all of us. So thank you.
Any other? Okay. So, I think before we go on, I wanted to talk a little bit about the 4th of July, because we brought that up earlier, and I see that, Judy's here. So we had talked about canceling our 4th of July celebration, and what Willow Bill was talking about us doubling down was, we in an earlier discussion, we were talking about, we haven't officially, because that's why we agreed to the evening session. But it talked about doubling down maybe on next year's 4th of July for our citizens. With all the construction going on down here, it's gonna be virtually impossible. More is getting tore up every day. It's getting closer to the square. But I come up with the idea of maybe McCormick Park for 4th of July. Would that work for the bell ringing and stuff like that?
Not the fireworks.
Not the fireworks, but just the ceremonial piece and car shows, because we know that you put on that day event, and there's no reason that couldn't happen.
The only thing that would hold me.
Hey, come on up, Judy, because I did see you here. We've been doing this for a lot of years, so.
Yeah.
You've been doing it for a lot of years.
10th year, so we're super excited about it. Judy Thompson, St. Helens. So yes, I think McCormick Park would be excellent with the addition of the new stone structures that are in place for all the services. However, the thing that holds me back, I don't have the certificate of liability. So it would have to be a city function that I would be happy to carry on like we have.
We'll call Chris Iverson and I'll get in touch with you right away.
Okay, that'd be great. Okay, because we do have I mean.
It's quick, yeah.
Yeah, it's really quick.
Yeah, I would probably just be a phone call and it would be probably, I don't see why it would be an issue, because it's city, considered a city function.
Okay. Yeah, plan B was all the guys were gonna go ring their bells. We have potato salad somewhere, so.
Anything we can do to support, let us know too. I'm sure it'll be a go, but I think that's kind of the census earlier, correct, council?
Yeah.
Can you share some of what you have planned, Judy?
We have the theme this year is Tour of Duty. So that our speaker will be speaking on Tour of Duty. And I have tentative a few speakers lined up. And then we just have our car show. I mean, we have Highway 30 cruisers will be there. And we have Birthday Cake for America and Larry Jackson if he would be able to play and Ellie sang at McCormick. It would be traditionally the same as what we did in the plaza. Yeah. So, and the guys would still ring their bells, and I think Brandon offered, he has a bell that
Get
could
it
be
there, it's heavy,
mobile
but I'll see what we can do.
out there. Yeah,
Favorite way to bring it, golf
Yeah.
cart.
yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, exciting. Okay, good.
I just wanted to, we'd seen you there, I just wanted to get it out.
Good.
Right away.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
We decide on fireworks officially then?
Well, I mean, yeah, we're talking about this, I don't see it happening down here. I think, we should make a commitment to our citizens. We know the park is supposed to be going May to May. So it should be done by 4th of July next year. Should be, if it's May to May, the project. Make a commitment to double down and make a bigger, better show than we've had in a while, just because we skipped a year. Not huge extravagant, but it'll be noticeable to anybody who's, some of them will be noticeable. And, I think that, it's unfortunate that we're under construction, but it's not, it's fortunate. We're fortunate enough that kind of luxury problem, that we're able to get our waterfront redone. Oh,
John, it doesn't sound like it's a problem to roll it over to next year.
I haven't checked with Western Display, but in the past, we've been trying to cancel it, but there's provisions like rain out, things like that, and cancellation. We're early enough in that period that we can likely roll that money forward.
yeah.
I do think we need to make an official statement on our social media pages. Making sure that we put it out there.
Go up, for sure.
People do expect our fireworks show, so.
You're looking at each event about down here and the conflict of the construction and everything, but I think you need to take it further than 4th of July. It's
Yeah.
all the rest of the events are downtown. I mean, you might as well look at them all. You can have the same problem.
Yeah.
Every time you look at these events.
Yeah, the reason I didn't go to October yet is because it was 3 months out from that, I mean, that's 6 months out, I don't know where we would be.
The timeframe was through December.
Yeah,
We don't know about the county projects and stuff like that, right? So if there's not as many projects going down here, then there's still a chance.
Projects from April to December. Right, that's wanted to do.
they were, as far as wrapping them up, we're right. Right.
I think if anything happens down here in October, it's gonna have to be drastically different from what it usually is.
It's not gonna stop people from coming.
It doesn't stop people from coming, but the year that we had COVID, and I just thrown this out there, they did ticket sales. And still people showed up, but they came through, but during the event, it was closed off. I don't
More
think,
controlled.
yeah, and I don't think that's really the right answer either, because then you're bringing in paid customers, taking up parking from our businesses. I don't think that's the right answer either.
Well, another question is if these are events that are in our contract, those are events that the contractor is getting paid to do. So if we're not gonna do them, then we need to discuss that too.
Mhm.
So I think that's probably a conversation for another time, it sounds like.
Yeah, let's put this on we'll ask Mohammed to come down. I know he's giving a report next. So we'll have him, we'll put on a 20-minute discussion for agenda item, work session. Well, that's a good point, Russ.
We just ought to look at it now rather than just kicking it down, but when it's really becoming critical. Like
We got the brass tacks.
Plan,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so, all right, now I'm gonna go into our agenda here. Approve and authorize for signature, number one, third amendment to agreement with McKinsey for public safety facility project. 2, agreement with Lower Columbia Engineer LLC and General Engineering Services. 3, amendment number 1 to grant contract with Oregon Business Development Department for sewer capacity improvement projects. 4, contract with Advanced Excavating Specialist LLC for Riverwalk project. 5, amendment contract with Moore Excavation Inc. for South First Street intersection improvement project.
Move we approve and or authorize for signature items 1 through 5 as written.
Discussion.
Second it first.
I'll second that.
Okay, second,
Discussion?
motion been made and seconded.
We always move quicker with it.
Yeah, Russ.
Mackenzie. What does that do for us?
Mackenzie is a time extension, no dollars. Just because of the delay in the police station project, and they're on call, standing by, waiting for
Well, I
that.
paid him around last month.
It's probably for the,
Something else?
so, well, it's,
For the meeting they showed up to and planning mission.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to keep the clock running if we can't use them. We have to have a site before they can.
Yeah, only if we call upon them will they charge us. Yep.
See, Riverwalk. They were given us today in the work session. Danny Dimshow pointed out the future stage to be built there.
Yep.
Okay, well, they plan on building a sidewalk right through that area of the future stage, so that means we'd be carrying out the new work they do. Prove that, but I think it ought to be put in the change order eventually to them, that this could be gravel or something, but don't be building anything we're gonna be tearing out.
The stage could go through another exercise and relocate a little bit too, to be square. That was just the last plan that we.
We got more designing, more engineering, and the stage is already designed, right? Keep changing things, it just costs more.
I think some of that almost looks like it may be even existing concrete, Russ.
I thought that's what she said.
Yeah, I think it's tied into that existing.
Not
concrete.
here.
Don't see anything that says existing there, so.
Well, I think that's why they did just kind of square it off like that, because it bulbous is out, so playground, right? Tight back
I
in.
just
Yeah.
see that stuff and I don't wanna waste money.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it. Okay.
We are putting grass in here, right?
Yes.
Because right now I just looked out there and should see the gravel roundabout, gravel roundabout, but there will be grass. That's part of the project. Just want to make sure no funny business at the very end that looks really.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, I have a motion that's been made and seconded to approve and authorize the signatures 1 through 5. Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Sunday.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson.
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard.
Aye.
No, I'm an aye as well. Appointments to city boards and commissions, appoint Colleen Euler to the library board. Somebody'd like to make a motion to appoint her?
Motion to appoint Colleen Oler to the library board.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to appoint Colleen Euler to the library board. Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Sunday.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson.
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard.
Aye.
And I as well. Okay, appoint Reed Herman and Nick Helmich to Parks and Trails Commission.
Motion to appoint Reed Herman and Nick Helmut to the Parks and Trails Commission.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to appoint Reed Herman and Nick Helmich to Parks and Trails. Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Sunday.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson.
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard.
Aye.
And I as well. Okay, consent agenda for acceptance, library board minutes dated February 12th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to consent agenda for acceptance, the library board minutes dated February 12th, 2024.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Sunday.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson.
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard. Okay, council minutes dated January 29th, 2024. 10, declare surplus property, Flying Eagle. 11, request for proposal, special events coordination and management services, including independent contractor agreement. And 12, accounts payable bill list.
Move we approve consent agenda items 9 through 12 as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda 9 through 12. We just want to have a little discussion. There's no doubt that this canoe that Willow Bill is very spiritually connected to this, and Aaron, and in the Main Street, we do have a relationship with, and as far as an MOU, and I think this is just the right way of going about it. It's always, the only time the canoe ever comes up, really, is when we drag it out, barely discussed, but comes out occasionally, very rare, but when Willow Bill shows up. And I have had a history with him once before when he showed up and wanted to take it. And we did allow him to take it that time. And well, the time before. Last time we said no, because this is, he showed up quite a few times, so it's the right thing to do. It just is, so. That's what I will say about it. Anybody else like to comment on that?
I don't think anyone could love that canoe as much as you do.
I love, you know what, Sean, there's gonna be a little kid that's gonna love it even more, they're right here.
I appreciate your passion about it, and Aaron had a really lovely way of talking about your passion, so.
Right.
Yeah, she almost got me going too.
And then I want to thank Councilor Hubbard and Cindy for getting on this. I know Councilor Cindy, you've spent quite a bit of time on this too, the RFP, getting that all ready to go because and the speed that you got it done. That's awesome. So all right. Motion's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda 9 through 12. Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Cindy.
Aye.
Councilor Gunderson.
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard.
I'll accept, Willow Bills, I have to recuse myself on that. Because
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yep. All but the canoes. And then I'm gonna aye for all of them. Yeah, work session item, we kind of just brought the fourth, we barely skimmed the surface, but we finished that earlier, so let's go on to our city administrator's report, John Walsh.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Matthew's gonna put up one of the items on the, in a minute, I don't know if she has it in the tray to. So the city holds a number of Department of State lands waterway leases. In fact, we have some of the largest ones in the state, down into the mill area. And we also have two up towards the boat basin, one in the alignment of Columbia Boulevard and the other one down at Great Cliffs Park. And those leases are 15-year leases. They're historically, the city has, and the way the leases work is that the upland owner has first right. They have right to, they refuse that, then the petition can make a application for use of the waterway. And what we've done as a city is held that right and sublet it to the marinas. There's Dillard's Marina and also St. Helens Marina right there. DSL approached us in its renewal and said, well, you don't need to do that. You could go abandon your aim on that. They could work directly with DSL on that and be a little easier permit process. So we looked at that, discussed it internally. Staff doesn't have any concerns over the Columbia Boulevard alignment. They're the one you see right there. The other one, there is projects in the area that does join a park. There, we've been working with Marine Board on doing a ADA fishing ramp, kayak launch at that location. So we're a little bit more concerned about that. We want to continue to have that sublet relationship, and just want to get council's input on that. And, support on how we have been managing leases all these years.
They're saying we don't need to do the sublet anymore.
It's a little bit more complicated. We're managing our process.
We lease that area and then we sublease it to the two different mortgages.
Right. And what's the concern with changing it?
It would just make it easier on this particular lease. It's easily done that we could just let go. I think that they say they release the lease, or the city releases the lease. And then it goes to, I think you said it was the
Uplander, yeah.
We talked about like splitting it between the two different mortgages. Because we actually right now sublease half of that to Brad Hendrickson's St. Helens Marina, and then half of it to Dillard's Mortgage.
You wanna do? If we just let Dillard's, if we release our interest, Dillard's and St. Helens Marina would just lease their portions.
And is this because it's coming up, the 15 years?
Because it's, yeah, it's the
Okay,
renewal.
that's why I was
That's the reason
wondering
we're
why we're talking about it, yeah.
We were just, it's been in the queue since December. They lost our paperwork. So it didn't come around until sometime last month. And so we wanted to bring this to you guys just because they had time to think about it. So we wanted it to bring it to you to see if you wanted to release this one, but this one keep for the future, use from the plans for the park.
Yeah, and I think that one is a smart one to keep because historically there is the old dock used to come right off that property there. You go down, Waters.
I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, Waters sand pile down there. I don't know if Les.
Isn't that where the proposed kayak?
Yeah.
It's in the vicinity, that's the reason that we're.
Yeah. Okay. And that's going along, isn't it?
Yeah, the concept plans don't show that alignment for the use. They have the ramp taking off more towards the end of the parking lot to have less user conflicts with boaters and kayakers and things.
It still gives us to reserve that right there. We know where our line is.
Is there a cost associated with this?
It's minimal.
Yes, minimal, it's less than $1,000 for a 15-year renewal.
In the state of Oregon?
Yeah.
I thought there was 99-year leases. That was 15 years.
There's different classifications of leases.
Okay, well, I think I'm comfortable. I don't just speaking for myself and giving direction on letting just keeping the one. I can't see any reason to have the other one.
That's why we're asking.
I mean, ultimately, they have to ask us every 15 years when it's for a renewal if we want it back, right? So,
And then we have to do the subleases whenever those come about and, yeah.
It's good to me.
That makes sense to me.
how much do we make off of them?
We just give the money, or we just, whatever fee we get from DSL, we pass on to them. I don't think we make any money at all.
Okay, next item, there's no picture on this one, but the police station needs a new roof and we've been working on a number of issues out there, trying to get the building in good shape, get the roofs patched and stable for the moment. Getting some ventilation in there, getting some heat in the areas, treating some of the mold and things that have happened because of the roof leaks and to get in as good a shape as we can, but we don't have the funds for this year. We'd like to move forward with contracting or scheduling with a contractor. We went out and got 3 bids. We got the lowest bid was $31,900. There isn't money in this year's budget. There would be a next year. Contractor can't do it until after July anyway. They're that scheduled that far out right now. And I just wanted you to bring that to you. It's a unbudgeted expense, and that's unbudgeted expenses would either take council approval, which is why I'm asking you, and need a roof at some point anyway, so.
There's no more life in it. Can't be patched or anything.
It's a tar built up roof that's been patched a number of times. Range of bids was from 63,000 to 31,000 and basically it's just like we have on City Hall and the other buildings. Membrane roof.
We'll get it done.
Yeah, we gotta do it.
Good schedule, okay.
Still gonna do something with that.
See the bill till next year, fiscal year, but
Still a good building.
yeah, and we want to keep it a good building, correct?
Sell it or do something with it,
Okay, we've been approached by the high school. The people doing the turf field project, they have all of this excess dirt. The topsoil that's coming up all of the fields out there is going to be replaced with turf, and you know, the city is always looking for dirt for different things and wanted to make sure we didn't have another dirt issue. And they're offering to free dirt. It's there's no charge.
What kind of
It's
dirt?
coming to a place on the topsoil. Not the extra dirty. It actually has a lot of grass in it, so there's a lot of organics that will mound up compost and be really good soil at some point. But we're looking at some places on the mill site that are away from wetlands, to be permitted, they'd be appropriately capped and properly hydroseeded to come back and use in the future, so.
Or we use it quick sooner than that.
Or we use it sooner than that, or we fill in First Street Canyon there. Objections to that?
As long as you get the permits for the dirt.
Well, are you putting in a place we might develop?
No, it's would be up kind of where the. Well, it's a trash pile right now with concrete, things like that, but we're gonna blade that off and create some pads in there.
And this is not where Arcadia's thinking about.
No, it's outside, it's up on the contractor hill there.
As long as we don't have to move it again for a project or something.
Right, it's pretty out of the way.
20 yards.
70,000
About 77,000.
or 7,000, yeah,
It's not 27.
7,000.
The hill,
They're just scraping off enough to get gravel down because they're doing curve. Yeah, both those.
I mean. Any value in that? You want Beaver Bark, take a look at it, or,
No, they don't do dirt.
well, they use it for mixture, was there some of their product, but I don't know.
No,
I guess.
yeah,
Okay.
we can mix it up. Bring it down here for a waterfront.
Stockpile it, don't.
Yeah, it'll be stockpiled,
I'll spread it out and hydroseed it.
but it's, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Should make a third pile
As many piles as we want.
We'll call it Three Sisters. We'll call it Three Sisters.
there.
Okay.
3 Johns.
All right, last Tuesday was Library Workers Appreciation Day. Went out to the library, met with staff, has a good time, had some treats and some pictures, and also saw where they're planning to do the solar installation project. It's not an installation on the building roofs, it's actually the right side. It's gonna be some covered kind of shelter types of things that pretty neat. So right now, we're just at the planning stage with the solar grant. They'll come back for another capital improvement grant. The states has a lot of money for those. We'll do that next year. Yeah, I think so. Also, last week went to the Port of Columbia County Board meeting, joined by Larry Belcher and Commissioner Jacobson. Talked about the Milton Creek, about doing trails along Milton Creek. Milton Creek runs along. Port's property is on one side of the creek, city's property is on one side. Creating that connection from along both sides of the creek, from Fleming Park and towards the river, hopefully someday over to the waterfront even, if we can make that connection. So, the Port was very receptive. They were just looking for solutions and how to get it done. So that's could be
good.
Imagine a loop trail along Milton Creek there where you could go cross on a footbridge, come down, cross on a footbridge and come back. Pretty nice trail. It's beautiful back in there too. But it is also an industrial site, so we want to make sure we have our industrial priorities as well. But we're far enough, we couldn't build that close to the creek anyways. Next week on Wednesday, April 24th, in Astoria, the Marine Board is recommending the city receive it's a $200,000 grant for upgrades to the courthouse docks here. You'll notice when you look out at the debris boom out there, there's a section missing. Those sections are very expensive, $50,000. So they're contributing towards that, and the tie rails and just general improvements towards the dock. And there's already a plan in place to how that.
Like maintenance, general maintenance.
Last night it was at the Columbia River PUD board meeting. I was invited there to. Was last night, yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I gave you the money anyway.
That's right. So getting the electrification in McCormick Park, we had submitted an economic development grant. Grant was recommended for approval, Counselor Hubbard abstaining. Received $7,000 to work with that. Total project cost around 13,000, so there'll be. It shows by Pete work by UD's gonna perform some of the work, and then our staff will do some of the impact work as far as trenching and.
Where's that gonna work? Please don't tell me in the next month or two.
It is.
Oh, it'll be done fairly soon.
Gonna be done before 13 nights, done before 4th of July, I'm just
Yeah, it is moving along, so.
making sure.
I'll give a call.
Yeah.
Good luck on it.
No, everybody's poised to go here. Volunteer Appreciation Week is next week, April 21st to 27th, and we're gonna have our Boards of Commission meeting at the Community Center. April 23rd.
Tuesday.
That is Tuesday. Okay. The police station, talked about that briefly. This whole team of people is on standby, waiting for direction on whether to, if we're going with Castle Road, if we're working on another site. We just want to build something, and hopefully we'll have some direction soon. I know that we're kind of stuck right at the moment. I wanted to point out that the police levy, there's information sheets that have been declared safe harbor by the state elections folks. They're here at City Hall, they're online at the police website, and that the May 21st election. So if you want to share the information, it's available. Also, the program is also available for inspection. It's at the front counter on the website. In your hand, all right.
Yeah, I got mine too.
And then lastly, just with Rachel Berry leaving, the burden of grants management has come on my shoulders pretty heavy, and I've been spending a lot of time managing, get access to federal programs and grants, and it's a lot of work, so she will be missed.
All right. No, I got something from Epson today on some of the
respond to
grants.
that,
Yeah, okay. If not, I will. The webinar?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go on to council reports. Council President Tobin.
So I had one thing tonight that I wanted to just talk about and go over in my report, and that is the hospital property. So recently, it has come to the public's attention that we have put it up on the market for sale. So I've seen a lot of discussion about it and had a lot of questions. So I did some inquiring myself about how we obtained the property and what happened there, because it was way before my time. It's been a long time, and a lot of people just don't know what happened back then with it all. So I did some research, and I just want to do, it's a very long story, but I'm going to make it relatively short. And I'm sure other people have other versions that they'll probably share too, but I'm going to share what I know about it. So the Millard Road property was acquired by the hospital district. Similar to the fire district, a legitimate taxing entity at the time. Funds were generated by this taxing district by collection for the purpose of building a hospital, but that was later denied at the state level, unfortunately. So no cities or counties denied it. It was above our heads. That district dissolved, and so did its assets, including the Millard Road property. Property was transferred legally to the underlying jurisdiction, which is the city of St. Helens. So that is how it became our asset. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Mr. Sunday?
Okay, a couple things. Want to welcome our new board and commission members. I'm not acquainted with Reed, but I know the Parks and Trails Commission was very impressed with him during his interview. Also welcome Colleen. We've seen what she can do when she gets fired up, and so I appreciate her enthusiasm. And also Nick, it's been good getting to know you in these meetings, so welcome aboard. Parks and Trails Commission did have their meeting last week, and as John reported, they're working to preserve an area along Milton Creek and create a joint trail with the port. It really is a beautiful area, and I think it's worth the effort, so I hope we can come to an agreement there.
Yeah.
Want to thank everybody that was involved with the work party at Nob Hill. Howard, thank you for all the work that you did there, and Caroline and all the volunteers that showed up. We do have another opportunity for service this weekend in honor of Earth Day. The Parks and Trails Commission is hosting a work party at the Japanese Garden area of McCormick Park. That's going to be this Saturday, 9 to noon, I think is the time slot. So there'll be signups there and registration forms. So looks like it might be a little wet that morning. So dress appropriately and bring some tools with you. And again, had the opportunity over the last couple of weeks to meet with Buck a couple times, and just want to thank him for his responsiveness. And him and I met just this week down with with Taylor Thiel from the Scappoose Bay Watershed to do some. She's going to be looking at some of the invasive species around the Japanese gardens and some of the stuff that they'd like to see removed from that area. So that'll be a big help. Wanted to report just a little bit. I also had the opportunity to go on a ride along on a graveyard shift with Sergeant Doug Treat. And he promised beforehand, he says, we'll try to find you a little excitement. And I said, I'm okay with no excitement. So, and it was a very quiet night. So we had the opportunity to stop for a few minutes at 911. So it was great to see how that works and what an important part of the team they are. And also back to that idea of community policing, the one big thing that I came away with that I was really impressed with is even before we left the police station, the officers that were still there, just the way they talk about the community members and how well they know the people that are walking around at 11:30 at night and know the needs of the people that are out there. I was really impressed with that. Also had the opportunity to meet briefly with Shauna Duggan, visit two of our after school programs, both at Lewis and Clark and McBride. And it was really nice to see the need that's being filled there in the community. Daycare is a big problem, so great to see the kids engaged and having so much fun. And I know they hosted a spring break camp this year that 50 kids were able to attend. That was free for all of the kids that were in attendance. My kids were able to get on the wait list and got admitted to that, so they weren't too excited to go the first day, but after that they wanted to go back every day, so they had a great time. And then the last opportunity I had a chance to spend some time with our code enforcement officer, Eduardo Medina. And again, had a great time just seeing what he does and all the ins and outs of the things that he deals with on a daily basis. I agree, we do have some challenges. We have some bumps in the road, but I think there's lots of good things going on too. So I'm trying hard to look for the good things. And a couple of those good things, again, last week, National Library Week at the library, stopped in to say hi to them. A great group over there. Appreciate all that they do. And then also wanted to congratulate our finance department on receiving a distinguished budget presentation award. So thank you to them for all of their hard work and getting these budgets out in a timely manner and getting it into a form that I can halfway understand. So that's appreciated. But I think that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Councilor Gunderson.
Not much of a report. I do have something I'd like to bring up about the levy. We have the possibility of getting radio spots done. I think you all get that email. Are we interested in that?
For $1, yeah.
For $1?
That's what he said.
$1 per spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, at 300 spots.
Yeah, no city funds can be.
At 300 spots.
Avamere was unique. He called me and we talked for a long time about that.
You
It's the same spiel.
So what I'm asking is, do we want to do that? And do we want to just pony up the 60 or as a council?
Versus, yeah.
You can't use city dollars.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, personal dollars.
If we personal dollars.
Yeah, and I
Checking interest.
Well, and I have some signs too that we need to get out.
Yeah, that's true.
So. I
We
don't
can
know.
talk about it. We can talk about it later, but that's, I don't know if that's worth can't hurt.
Yep, we do have some signs for the levy that are, we can get, if anybody would like a few.
I would.
Okay. I'll grab those. I'll do them by Friday. Okay.
That's all I got.
Too, Mayor.
Yeah. Okay.
All I got.
All right, Councilor Hubbard.
I think the marriage between Main Street and Willow Bill would be ideal. It sounds like a what a great, they understand each other. And when it comes back, they're gonna celebrate it, for the city and Willoughville. Even though I abstained, I think it's a great deal there. The library, great to see more people coming on the board. The solar, if we get the grant, right? We're not sure we get it, but I guess from what I understand, it's gonna be a state-of-the-art one, so it's not, it's would be one of the best places in the state that has this up-to-date solar, so it'll be sort of a teaching thing for the library and the community, so I think that's great. And glad to be part of the PUD and see some money going towards a great cause there at the park. So that's what the PUD is about, so we can help. That was great.
Okay, so first and foremost, went to the Merkley Town Hall. We discussed with him, prior to his meeting, our power needs in our area and how important it was. Pretty much, Mayor Scappoose, the board, all the county commissioners were there. Expressed that power is our number one issue. And our difficulty is we don't have somebody like Amazon or Google who's gonna come in and wanna throw down, $30 million and wait 6 years for a return on that, then they can start building. So we need some help there because we're stuck between, we have PGE as a private. They own the lines coming in to our area, our whole area, and the PUD is a public entity that services pretty much everywhere else in our area, and it's just been a difficult situation. So he took notes on that, and luckily we have Gustavo, who works for us, and he seems like he'll help us. Paul Vogel spoke a little bit on it too, CSAT. So it was a good meeting. Hopefully there'll be some results, from that. When he found out we lost the solar opportunity, he was disappointed. He really, the nation has a standard green energy that they have to meet, and they will never meet it. It's like 6 gigawatts or something. Forget what it is, but they're not gonna come close to it. And that's, this is one more notch in the belt that kind of didn't happen. So, but we're down, not out. We're working on a new LOI, I understand. There's just a few things that need to be firmed up, and hopefully we can have that going here soon. That's what I heard.
What we saw will go back to the attorneys then.
Yeah, it's already back, yeah.
It's already back, okay. I reviewed it and I think it's good. It starts to dance.
Yeah.
That's all it is right now.
Yep. So, 4th of July, the meeting of the 4th of July, I have a little sticky here for me. We typically cancel that meeting, that first Wednesday. So it's July 3rd this year, and I think we should go ahead and cancel this July 3rd meeting. Usually that's the one we do, and sometimes if it's close to Christmas. But we haven't closed Christmas one down, I think, in a while, so I'm recommending that we'll go ahead and cancel that. If somebody would like to make a motion, I'd like it to be a council decision, but it's something we've done for years now.
The motion that we cancel the city council meeting on July 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to close the July 3rd meeting. Council President Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Sunday.
Aye.
Councilor Jefferson.
Aye.
Councilor Hubbard. Aye. And I as well. And then let's see, a lot of talk about I want to thank you guys again for the RFP, getting that all, and this is not a get rid of Tina. I don't know where all this is coming from. This is about a contract and an RFP. That's what it's about. It's about getting the city's needs in place So we have the availability to be able to look behind and see what's actually going on. We should be able to do that. And I think that's what this is gonna do, to address, is what I see and what I heard. I do agree that there is a little bit of that funniness with the July, something we can think about, you know, we still got time for that, you know, middle of the 13 nights, but, I'm okay with also just, this isn't gonna get rid of Tina, that's what, I'm also not afraid to rip off the Band-Aid either, let's just do this. Right? So, lots of action going on, in Public Works with Waterfront. There's been lots of little difficulties, but Mohammed's been a huge trooper in tackling everything that's coming at him. And, you know, from the magnolia tree to an oil tank, undiscovered oil tank, to all kinds of stuff just that happened that you know, it's like all of a sudden, you know, I'm dealing with this stuff. And, yeah, the oil tank is right underneath the building there at the Arcadia. So it's not just like something you can just, it's under the building, like the building's on top of it, part of it, and hanging out part of it.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, and then he's gotta call all the right channels to have them come look at it, to be able to decommission it, see what we need to do. So, no, but he's really been doing a good job of managing this waterfront and keeping it on task and on budget. So I want to thank him for that. I just want to thank the council for being a very functional council. This is the most functional council I've had since I've been here, where people are out actually doing things, you know, and in meeting with people and taking their liaison positions, taking ride-alongs, you know, that's what it takes. Get involved and understand our city. So listen, I'm not here to please everybody, and you can sit here and you can try to manipulate me. But it ain't gonna work, because I don't serve you, I serve all citizens. And I do what's best for all citizens. That's what I signed up to do, and I fully intend to continue doing that. So. But again, want to thank you guys for all your hard efforts too. It's definitely been noticeable lately. So we have a really good functioning council, and the city's moving forward. Lastly, I'd like to thank Gloria and her team for getting this budget together, and that meeting will be coming up on, what date do we have that scheduled for?
25th.
The 25th. Yep, so it's coming right up and going full force into the budget, so.
Very exciting stuff. Heard you.
Yep. Oh, it is. It is. I mean, that's what runs the city, and I don't think I have anything else on here written down that I needed to. Okay, we have the agenda item for talking about Halloween Town. Talking about the construction online.
Yes.
In Halloween Town.
May 1st.
Yep. Okay. That's all I got.